Welcome to Wedge Wednesday, and going on a little bit from Scoring Saturday when we spoke about some of the stuff from the book Every Shot Counts. I thought what would be a good idea, considering the amount of shots you play from that 0 to 60 yard range, just to maybe talk a little bit about some basic technique for that type of shot. Now remember, I think for the majority of you from that sort of distance, 0 to 60 yards, a good objective is just get the ball on the green first time. And to do that, we want a bit of a basic pitching technique, if you like, and this can work for shots really within that range. All you've got to do is vary the length of the backswing to then adjust the length of the shot. So for, let's say, a fairway lie, we want to carry the ball 40 yards, just to give you a number. I've got here my 54 degree, which is kind of my middle wedge. I carry a 50, a 54 and a 58, and we're going to just hold a little lower down on the handle, only a smidgen. I'm not keen on players really holding almost down on the base of the handle, just a little bit. So you've essentially got the same amount of the handle sticking out of the top of the left hand as you have out of the bottom of the right hand. I would locate the ball in the centre of the heels. Again, I'm not a big fan of the ball getting too far back, but I certainly wouldn't let the ball go too far forward. So play it more in the centre. A relatively narrow stance. I work on the idea of the heels being approximately 2 club head widths apart, but certainly get this front foot turned out. So if you righties, that's your left foot, flare it out up to about 45 degrees and get a bit more pressure on that left leg. Now, something to consider when you're playing this shot is we don't really want the weight moving too much backwards and forwards. I want you to create a sensation that you're essentially pivoting around that front leg. Okay, we don't want much side to side movement. And predominantly as we're swinging the club back, we're going to let the chest rotate and we're going to swing back, and we're just going to concentrate on keeping the club shaft quite a long way from that right shoulder. Try and avoid any unnecessary picking up of the club or getting the wrist working a little bit too much. I would just concentrate on letting the chest rotate, the weight stays around that left side, and keeping the golf club nicely away from it. This promotes an angle of attack that's down enough without being too down. So I like people to think about when playing wedge shots, you're really trying to hit it as low as you can without taking too much of a divot. We don't want you gouging out the turf. So the weight slightly forward, the left foot flared out. We're going to let the chest just rotate, club goes back, and then the finish, again, we quite like to see the chest facing forwards, and we're going to finish with the arms still relatively straight at that point. Again, try and be careful that in the finish we don't get the club all the way up here. Try and match it. So if you swing back where you feel your left arm's level with the ground, try and swing through to where you feel the left arm's level with the ground on the way through. Let's give that a go. So pressure's forward. I'm going to just rotate the chest, keeping the club away from my arms level. I'm going to rotate through, and again I'm going to finish where the arms are level with the ground on the follow through. Something like that really. It's a nice little low spinner that's going to hit into the centre of the green. It's going to stop pretty quick. So Mark Brody said in his book, between 0 and 60 yards, you're playing about 13 of these shots in a round. So I think it's a good idea to get really good at this distance.